Yeah, thank you. It's a great privilege to be here. I am really amazed that any of you made it this morning. But then I did go to the party as well last night and you couldn't get a drink, so actually I understand. It's inevitable that a conference like this places a great deal of emphasis on a sustainable future by promoting carbon neutrality, recyclable products, and generally raising environmental consciousness. So it makes sense that the organizers would expose the flip side of the coin, or you could say the heart of the problem. Raw commercialism, rampant consumerism, and mindless excess, which is, of course, why I'm here. I'm the root of all evil, the ad guy, the one who sells all the rubbish everyone else is trying to clean up. But in an effort to disguise my true purpose, I've decided to take a leap and talk about a subject somewhat nobler, which is probably why it's not traditionally associated with advertising. So I'd like to talk about mountains. About 20 years ago, a bloke called Richard Bass decided it would be cool to be the first person to climb all of the 7 highest peaks on each continent. So he started the 7 Summits Challenge. And since then, only about 198 people have joined his elite club, and many others have died trying. Those that did make it back would be the first to tell you that there's a lot to be learned from the experience, because the 7 summits are each on a different continent. They each require a different approach, and each individual climb teaches you a different lesson. So it's pretty much the same in advertising. Now we need a very interesting title to come on. Each continent has something special and unique about the way they sell stuff nobody really needs. So I'd like to take you on a whistle-stop tour of each of the 7 summits of highly effective advertising, where you'll see that the best work of each continent actually reflects the culture and uniqueness of the people who are meant to see it. So let's begin with Mount McKinley. It's famous for being the highest point in North America, and also famous as the home of Bigfoot. The most well-known proof of Bigfoot's existence is a film taken in 1967 by 2 intrepid fellows who described a beast 6 to 7 feet in height with hairy, pendulous breasts. 20 years later, it was revealed, of course, that the creature in the film was actually a bloke called John Chambers, who was in disguise. And nobody likes admitting to having hairy, pendulous breasts. But it obviously worked for Chambers, because he went on to win an Academy Award for costume design in the original Planet of the Apes. The Americans. Perhaps it's because they're able to laugh at themselves better than anyone else. Or perhaps it's because when everyone else has a president, they have a joke. Either way, Americans do funny better than anyone else. Let's have a look.
Budweiser presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
Mr. Really Bad Toupee Wearer.
More than any neon sign or exploding scoreboard ever could, your chrome dome cover says, "Hey guys, look at me."
What could you be thinking?
You think it looks natural, but it couldn't look phonier if it had a chin strap.
Look at you.
Made of space-age fibers, it can repel anything. rain, wind, snow, and especially young women.
I don't think so.
So crack open an ice cold Budweiser, Mr. Stud in a rug. Then crack open another for that thing on your head.
I don't think it's all straight. Real man of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Way Too Much Cologne Wearer. Like a bullhorn, your cologne announces your arrival 4 blocks before you get there.
Here he comes now.
Here a splish, there a splash. You don't stop till every square inch of manhood is covered.
Everywhere a splish splash.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Mr. Way Too Much Cologne Wearer.
Way too much cologne wearer.
Honey!
Hey.
I was gonna wait till you got home, but I can't.
What is it?
We're pregnant! Honey? Can I get a woohoo? Oh, you're speechless, right?
Singular is now the new AT&T. Your world.
Hello?
Melissa, it's Josh from last night.
Oh, yeah, hey.
Listen, I know there's that 2-day rule about calling or whatever, and this might sound totally dumb, but did you feel like there was a real connection between us? I mean, you know, like a brother-sister connection? Nothing creepy. I mean, like, you know,
Hello?
Hey, Mom, guess where I am?
Where?
In Vegas with Mike. Just drove here on a whim.
City of Lights. Promise me you won't come back married, okay? Jen. Jen. You're not getting married, are you?
Hey, baby.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Just wanted to talk to the most beautiful girl in the world, that's all.
Aw, that's sweet.
It's just nice to know that I'm the only man in your world. I am the only man in your world, right? Baby? Baby. Baby, is it Earl?
Mom? What's your problem?
I think I have a fever.
Come here. Ah, you're just hungry. Here, have some of these. They got pizza stuff in them. Hit the lights on the way out. Love ya.
Combos, what your mom would feed you if your mom were a man.
Sorry, Mom.
We thank you for this bounty of pretzels filled with creamy tasting cheddar cheese that we're about to receive. And please, please let Dallas cover the spread this weekend.
Combos, what your mom would feed you if your mom were a man.
Honey, have you seen my keys? Check the basket. Got 'em.
Gay marriage is just like yours, only gayer.
Honey, you're not drinking out of the carton, are you?
No.
Gay marriage is just like yours, only gayer.
On the European continent, and Elbrus wouldn't be truly European without a touch of filth. As such, it boasts the world's nastiest loo. So while you could say that McKinley is the home of the abominable snowman, Elbrus is the home of the abominable loo. Perhaps it's the long confinement in small grotty places that gives the Europeans time to perfect their fetishes and their advertising. Whatever it is, they produce the best crafted advertising in the world.
Isn't it nice when things just work?
This work comes out of Paris, won the Grand Prix in Cannes 2 years ago. It's beautifully, beautifully put together campaign illustrating how much passion great musicians actually put into their music. So it asks you, please not to pirate their music because nothing great comes easy. It's a very detailed illustration of Iggy Pop's heart.
Once I had a strange love, a mad sort of insane love, a love so fast and fierce I thought I'd die. Yes, once I had a strange love, a pure but very plain love, a love that burned like fire through a field. And once I had a strange love, a publicly acclaimed love, the kind of love that's seen in magazines. And then there was that strange love, that vulgar and profane love, the kind of love that we don't talk about. You see, I've had some strange love, some good, some bad, some plain love, some so-so love. So what? And say la vie. But just let me proclaim love, that out of all this strange love, you're the strangest love I've ever known.
Let's leave Elbrus and head south to Aconcagua, the magnificent crown of the South American Andes, and also the home of a slippery little critter called the vampire fish. Now, urine in water is to a vampire fish what an ambulance siren is to a personal injury lawyer. It's like a 2-inch heat-seeking missile. It trains in on the urine stream and then swims up into the anus of any unsuspecting climber happily relieving himself in the Rio Aconcagua. Once it's burrowed into the flesh and happily gorging itself on blood, it can only be removed by open rectal surgery. But of course, most victims die of shock first. So in a place where life is short, you need to get your message across as quickly and as effectively as possible, which has made the South Americans masters of visual drama. This is a campaign for Havaianas. The headline here says, "If you like delicate and feminine things, you deserve a sandal like this. If you don't, you deserve to be hit with a sandal like this." This one says, "Ideal for seduction, they're very beautiful. Ideal for post-seduction, they're very easy to take off." And this ad highlights the plight of animals who live in the rainforest, a very graphic demonstration of how bureaucracy is actually the thing killing nature. All of the little things making up the encroaching darkness are actually rubber stamps. And this ad for tulipan condoms, showing bunnies in their unnatural habitat, simply says, "Fun now, kids later." So Aconcagüa's only rival in the southern hemisphere is the Carsten's Pyramid, the highest point in Australasia. So instead of mincing their words, the local cannibals prefer to mince their missionaries. And 4 Dutch families made a nice Christmas dinner in 1974. Further proof of their lack of subtlety and brutal honesty is the line on a recent ad that entices climbers to the pyramid. It says, "Climb sharp rocks while being watched by naked men in penis girds." So needless to say, understatement and elegance are not the hallmarks of a continent down under. The Australasians are the undoubted champions of honesty in advertising, perhaps the only champions. This is an ad for a toy store which says, "Because they're too young to know you're cheap." Because they're too young to know you're cheap. And here's a little insight into the Australian psyche.
I reckon we'll be all right if we lose some weight off the back.
She's a good sport, your missus.
Australians wouldn't give a Castlemaine 4X for anything else.
Go to Asia and the big daddy of all mountains, Everest. As the people of the Yak, the Sherpas were a pretty happy lot, herding their hairy cattle and farming potatoes, until some British surveyors came along and kind of told them otherwise. Everest was simply known as Peak 15. Their uncomplicated life must have rubbed off on some of the climbers, because when George Mallory was asked why he wanted to summit Everest, he simply said, "Because it's there." So whether or not it made sense to extend their karma of simplicity to their advertising as well, the Asians seem to make a habit of making wonderfully simple, single-minded pieces of communication. This is a print ad for the Adoption Association in India, and the headline says, "Adopt, you will receive more than you can ever give." And that's an adopted dad, in case you can't see it from there. This ad from Tokyo, literally showing impossible is nothing by having a race up the side of a building. And this ad for Greenpeace says, recycle paper, save trees. Okay, so we come to the mother continent, Africa, and Mount Kilimanjaro. Legend has it that in 1890, Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany complained to his granny, Queen Victoria of England, that he had no snowy mountain peaks in his colonial empire, while she had two. And guess what? She gave him Kilimanjaro for his birthday. There's little evidence of what the locals thought at the time, but then, as usual, probably nobody bothered asking them. So unfortunately, that's been the case with a lot of things African, including our advertising. But the truth is, unless your message has some kind of local relevance, nobody's ever going to listen. And African advertising has taken some time to come into its own, but I think it has. And there's no doubt that we now have our own distinctive identity and flavor. And in case you were wondering if I actually do anything with this work, we're going to show you a little bit of work here from Ogilvy in South Africa. So let's have a look. This is an ad for Channel O, music channel on DSTV. The line says, Africa is where music was born, Channel O, where music lives. And what you see in this illustration is that all music is actually rooted in Africa. So all the little blue lines, and I'll show you a close-up in a second, are actually made up of tribal instrumentalists, tribal drummers, etc. at the bottom in the roots. Going up into gospel, and then all the genres of music stem from Africa. That's what the ad illustrates. So it looks like that close up, and you can see the blues going into rock, into jazz on the right, big band, into reggae on the left, and all of the little blue veins of the tree are made up of actual artists' names and bands and instrumentalists. Okay, the next ad is from Low Bull in Cape Town.
Choma, how do you afford all of this when I organize myself a personal savings plan?
A personal what?
You can pick one up anywhere. And it doesn't even cost you a blue pig. All I need to do is go like this, and there's none. Jewelry, you name it. And there's no limit.
What's the savings plan called?
Bongan.
Reds, 100% Polar.
And this is a radio campaign from FCB in Johannesburg.
And this advert
paid for by me goes out to all those people who insist on reading their balances in front of the ATM. Now, I don't have anything against checking balances, but step aside and let other people use the ATM. In case you didn't know... Eita! It's who's boss? Yeah, man, it's a studio, man. Yeah, record. Yeah, advent. Sure, alright, shop later. Yeah. In case you didn't know, ATM slips are portable and can be read anywhere. The keyword there is portable. Yes.
Get your lotto ticket now. You could be next. Lotto, a chance to change lives.
Hi, it's the one and only Godfrey Mkwanazi here. Some of you out there might know me very well, in fact. Like you, Mr. Ndlovu. Remember you said I'm useless with numbers? Well, you were wrong. I'm actually quite brilliant with numbers. How do you like these numbers? 7, 14, 21, 23, 40, 49... Anyway, now that I can afford to make my own adverts, I decided to bring along a professional to end this one off nicely. Okay.
This advert was paid for by Godfrey Mkwanazi, a division of Godfrey Mkwanazi Limited, an unauthorized financial services provider.
Say my name again.
Godfrey Mkwanazi.
Again, that's good.
Godfrey Mkwanazi.
Yes.
Get your lotto ticket now. You could be next. Lotto, a chance to change lives.
Finally, we come to the Vincent Massive, the highest point in Antarctica, the planet's biggest white space. So Antarctica defies all our ideas of what a continent should be. It doesn't have much vegetation, and the closest you come to locals are the penguins. So all in all, the bottom of the world is a bit of an upside-down place. And fittingly, there is one final kind of advertising that everyone has equal claim to. The kind of advertising that defies our ideas of what advertising should be, the unexpected.
ฟ้าแตกเป็นเรื่องใหญ่เปลี่ยนด่วน
World Press Photo is regarded as the most prestigious press photography exhibition in the world.
People are constantly bombarded with images, and so we've got to somehow shake them out of their indifference and convince them this is the one exhibition that they should see.
Given the challenge and the budget, we needed an idea bigger than an ad. So we wrote to 74 world leaders inviting them to the exhibition and ran a teaser campaign explaining why. In the meantime, replies started coming in, so we ran metrolights telling people our invitations had been declined. These actually contained a letter from a world leader and urged people to see the photos they should be seeing. This campaign became an exhibition in itself, and our follow-up calls became radio spots and viral emails.
Well, I think it's unlikely just because it's an international event. It takes a lot out of his schedule.
The media latched onto it, and we got coverage in the national press and on national television. All the publicity surrounding the campaign translated to record attendance. It was the most successful World Press Photo exhibition in New Zealand.
there's a new way to get a corporate message across that not only delivers the message, but gives electricity to the people. In what is believed to be a world first, Nedbank has introduced the first solar-powered billboard.
What is a first for South Africa, as well as considered a world first, billboard advertising that generates more than advertising revenue. Nedbank came up with a solar-powered board that supplies energy to the school in whose ground it stands.
But it's got solar panels rigged at the top of the board. And those panels generate electricity, which in turn feeds a kitchen that serves 1,100 hot meals a day.
That idea is from Network BBDO in Johannesburg. Okay, so North America has taught us about humor, Europe about craft, South America, the importance of visual drama, Australia, honesty, Asia, simplicity, Africa about relevance, and Antarctica has shown us the value of the unexpected. So getting to the top of any of these conceptual summits is an achievement in itself. But wouldn't it be cool if there was an idea that peaked all 7 summits and that came from South Africa? That's a challenge I'm putting out there. Jeremy Clarkson says there are 2 kinds of people. Those who thrive on exploration and testing the limits of human endurance, and those who stay at home and breed. Both, he says, are necessary to move the human race forward. But luckily, advertising offers the rare example to do both. Days when you can push the boundaries of humor, craft, visual drama, honesty, unexpectedness, simplicity, and relevance, and nights when you can go home and breed. Thank you very much.